Have you ever felt like everything in your life was going right? Until one day it all came crashing down? One moment, peace and prosperity, the next, silence, loss and pain. What would you do if everything you loved was taken from you? Not because you did something wrong, but because of something far beyond your understanding? This is the story of one man who faced that very test. His name was Job. But before we dive into his journey, ask yourself, if your faith was tested by fire, would it survive the flame? A long time ago in a land called Uz, there lived a man named Job. He wasn't just a good man, he was a great one. Job had it all: 7 sons, 3 daughters, thousands of animals, and a house filled with laughter and love. Every time his children threw a feast, Job would offer a sacrifice the next morning. His mornings started with prayer, his days were filled with kindness, and his nights ended in peace. He lived with purpose, knowing everything he had was a gift from above. Neighbors admired him, strangers respected him, his children were close and often gathered to celebrate together. And when they did, Job watched with joy, but also with caution, because love for his family also meant caring for their souls. One day, far above the earth, in the divine courts of heaven, the angels came to present themselves before God.
Where have you come from?
From roaming the earth, from going back and forth upon it?
Have you noticed my servant Job? There is no one on earth like him.
Of course he does. You've built a hedge around him. You've blessed everything he touches, but take it all away, and he'll curse you to your face.
Very well, everything he has is in your power, but do not lay a finger on the man himself.
And so the trials of Job began. The oxen were plowing and the donkeys were grazing nearby when raiders came and took them. The servants were killed. I alone escaped. Fire fell from the sky and burned the sheep and the servants. I alone escaped. Raiders took the camels. Your servants were slaughtered. I alone escaped. Your sons and daughters were feasting in the oldest brother's house. A mighty wind struck the house. It collapsed. All your children are gone. In a single day, Job lost everything: his wealth, his workers, his beloved children. He fell to the ground, he tore his robe, shaved his head, and he worshipped.
Naked I came from my mother's womb, and naked I shall return. The Lord gave, and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord.
Through it all, Job did not sin. He did not blame God. Let's pause for a moment and ask, when life falls apart, what is your first response? Complaint or worship? Satan came again.
Skin for skin. A man will give everything to save himself, harm his body, and he'll curse you.
He is in your hands, but spare his life.
You speak like a foolish woman. Should we accept only good from God and not trouble?
In pain, in sorrow, and in silence, Job stayed faithful. News of Job's suffering spread. His friends Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zopher came from afar to comfort him. When they saw him, they barely recognized him. They wept. They tore their robes. They sat beside him for 7 days without saying a word. The grief was too great.
Job, the innocent don't suffer like this.
If you were upright, God would have restored you.
You speak too much. Repent, and maybe God will show mercy.
But Job cried out in anguish, "Why was I even born? Why is life given to those in misery?" He poured out his soul in poetry and pain. He wondered why he, a righteous man, was enduring so much. He remembered the days when people listened to his wisdom, when he walked with dignity, when he brought justice to the poor and hope to the hopeless. But now even children mocked him. He insisted he had done no wrong. He longed to speak with God, to plead his case.
Though he slay me, yet I will hope in him. I will argue my ways to his face. I know my Redeemer lives, and in the end, he will stand upon the earth, and after my skin is destroyed, in my flesh I will see God.
Here's a question worth pondering. Do we only trust God when life is good, or also when life breaks us? Job's faith never vanished. Even through despair, he still believed. Then came the storm. The skies turned dark, the wind howled, and from the whirlwind,
Who is this that speaks without knowledge? Brace yourself. I will question you, and you will answer.
God spoke of the stars and galaxies.
Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth?
He spoke of the ocean depths.
Have you ever walked in the recesses of the sea? Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades or loosen Orion's belt? Do you give the horse its strength?
He described nature in all its beauty, power, and mystery. He asked Job if he understood how the eagle soars, how mountain goats give birth, how storms are stored in the heavens. God revealed the limits of human understanding and the vastness of divine design. God wasn't scolding Job, he was reminding him, you don't have to understand everything, but you can trust the one who does. In the grandeur of the universe, God hadn't forgotten Job. He had been there all along. Can you feel the weight of that truth? When God seemed silent, could he still be speaking through his creation?
My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. I am unworthy. I repent in dust and ashes.
God then turned to Job's friends.
You have not spoken rightly about me as my servant Job has. Take offerings and go to him. He will pray for you.
And Job did. He forgave. He prayed. And God accepted his prayer. And then, restoration began. God gave him twice what he had lost. 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, 1,000 donkeys. And once again, Job was blessed with 7 sons and 3 daughters. And these daughters were more beautiful than any in the land. He gave them an inheritance alongside their brothers, a rare honor in those days. Job lived 140 more years. He saw his children and their children down to the 4th generation. He died full of years, full of peace, full of faith. His story became one of the greatest ever told, a living testimony of endurance, integrity, and trust in the unseen hand of God. Let's reflect one more time. Is it possible that your suffering today is preparing you for a deeper revelation tomorrow? Job's life teaches us something we all need to remember. Life won't always make sense, but God is always present. Even when the road feels dark, even when our prayers go unanswered, even when everything is lost, God sees, God knows, and in the end, God restores. Faith is not about having the answers, it's about trusting the one who does. We hope you enjoyed the story of Job. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel Throne and Kingdom. We'll see you in the next journey through the scriptures. God bless.